Good morning. It's me, Pearl, and this is Tuned in Tarot, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies inside of ourselves, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see reflected back to us from our outside world. So, if we want to see changes in our interactions with others, if we want to see changes in our environment, if we want to move to a new location, to a new career, move up and out in the world, we have to go and look at where our energy is, find the places where it's stuck and not moving because of beliefs we have about ourselves, dig those out, prove them wrong, and shift the energy to where you want it to go. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. We're going to take a look now at the divine feminine energy first because she had all her cards showing. She's overthinking a lot, which is truly relatable. So let us see what we see. I need coffee. Top of the deck. I made that way too sweet this morning. Yikes. Oh, that's like really bad. I didn't realize it until just now. Yikes. Okay. Top of the deck, overall headspace, forefront of the mind. Oh, and we're using Mystic Mondays deck. We're reviving today. I was called to use Mystic Mondays and the Field Tarot for Divine Feminine. Oh, and the songs. Instagram was being a total bee this morning and wasn't letting me choose any of the songs that played. There was one song that played, but it was at the end, and that was the song that's currently featured. So that's kind of the song for the union as a whole. But the individual songs that did play were actually the song There's Love by Nat King Cole, or as sung by Nat King Cole. Um, and it does not have lyrics in it, but it was very much, I mean, it has lyrics, but I can't see them, is what I mean, in my iTunes. So I don't know what the lyrics are and I can't remember, but I remember there was like marriage references and it was like where there's a smile and like, someone acting foolish and goofy, then there's love there or whatever. So it was a really uplifting song. That was playing like in the very beginning as I was preparing Divine Masculine side. And then that flowed into the song from Sonic Youth. I love my library, which is like da 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 da, and then the next thing is like da 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 da. I was like, oh my god, that's a lot for this morning to have Sonic Youth for breakfast. And it was the song Silver Rocket, which as Sonic Youth songs go, was actually pretty uplifting. And it had this one moment at the end where it says, um, you got a hand in time, got another in your mind, got your heart injected, and you got your soul aligned. You got it. Yeah, ride your silver rocket. So it's like, let's go. It was like it kind of had like a chariot feel to me. Like you got your soul aligned, you got the two parts of self are in order, and we're like ready to like take off to the moon. And then the third song that played as I was wrapping up, which I usually feel is, unless it's a strongly divine feminine sounding song, or if there was a instrumental in the middle or something, I usually just kind of consider that sort of overall feel. And that was the song that is on Instagram for the time lapse shuffle this morning, which was by um, the band Tender. Some of the music in my library, I'm like, no clue how it got there. Don't remember adding it. Don't know. So this could have come from another playlist or something. I don't know, but I don't know this band. Anyway, the song is called Lost, and the lyrics were like, "Hold your soul. Would you love me like you lost me to the wind?" It was very applicable. So you can go listen to those songs if you like to get more extended messages for the reading. But the general energy was there's love here, there's alignment, and like hold on, and also holding the space. So divine feminine's feeling not confused right now. The 7 of Cups for her is in its reverse. She's not sitting there trying to figure out what it is she wants to do anymore. She's made a choice. She's also not like afraid of what the cups contain. She's not afraid she put things in there she doesn't want. She's just kind of like, you know what? I have infinite trust in God. My trust in God is infinite type of a deal. Because in this card, there is this, when it is upright, there is this like inability to choose and kind of hoping that the divine is going to reveal the choice to you. But you're like in this state of like not moving because you're like, it could be this or it could be that or it could be this. It's like she's moved out of it could be that or it could be this or it could be that. She's like, no, it could not be that. It could not be that. And it could not be that because none of those things are actually what I want. What I want is this. And what I understand is that if I want it, if there's a desire for it, if I'm drawn to it, if it's magnetically attracting me, it serves a purpose for me. Whether that is for me to learn a lesson or for me to come into alignment with my soul, as the song suggested this morning, remains to be seen. But I don't care anymore if I know the answer. I'm just going to choose, first of all, to always come from a place, a heart centered place, where I'm choosing the self, I'm choosing emotion, I'm choosing feelings, I'm choosing to allow my feelings to guide me where I want to go. So there's that that's going on. She's like, it literally doesn't matter what's in the cups anymore. I'm just going to choose the better feeling thought. And that's going to lead me to the niggling thing in the back of my mind, victory. And this is Victory from Mystic Mondays, which is a distinctly feminine energy type of a deck. When I first started reading, um, I guess I was sort of refining the spread that I use, and starting to get to understand the like different resonances that decks have, where there might be like a associations we make with certain colors or something like that that will make us feel like, oh, this is a feminine energy or this is a masculine energy. But I started to experience that, and this was one of the first decks that I really felt was a feminine headspace type of an energy. And it has really powerful, strong feminine images on a lot of the cards that remove the feminine energy from the original deck. In this card, we see a divine feminine who's victorious and also like propelled by this victory. And there's the divine masculine energy is here in the sun instead of being embodied like as a figure in this image. Traditionally, we're also seeing a victorious uh, divine masculine energy with like the laurel crown on his wand, because it would be the wands. But anyway, so we're, oh god, I need to cut that with more very strong cold brew immediately. Okay, anyway, so we are definitely seeing her reflecting upon the fact that this is a solo victory, that it is one where she's choosing herself, because we're not seeing the other individuals that are normally in the images on this card. And I could have chosen any number of decks for this position this morning, but this is the one that I was called to choose. So the niggling thing underlying all of her thoughts and decisions is that, I mean, first of all, she does feel victorious over her confusion and over her lack of understanding and over her fears and concerns about the temptations and different things like that. So there's this liberation there for her from that state of inertia, because she kept just kind of going back. Well, I guess I could do that, or well, I guess I could do that, or I guess I could do that. But none of those things anybody wants to do. Good morning. Thank you for joining. None of those things anybody really wants to do. They're just like, well, I guess I could do that. I guess I could do that. No. So she's not doing that anymore. She's like, no, this is what I am doing. This is what I will do. And this is what will happen for me. And I know that because my trust is infinite. And the first thing on her mind is the divine masculine, the emperor. And I chose this deck, ladies, and that includes all variations on that theme because we're talking about energy, not gender. I chose this deck today, which means we had the chance of seeing someone clinging to the emperor. So I would love for you to release the feelings that you have right now about who this is because it's you. It's the first thing on your mind. You're totally aware of it. You're like, well, I guess I'm clinging to the emperor. And I've been told to release this energy, this specific iteration, but I'm as equally as stubborn and driven and rigid as the emperor is. And the power over my heart space is, you know, just as enslaved. So she's aware. And mm, when I look at the spread, when I look at the spread, I know she's aware and she's concerned that it's possible that this is a problem. And she's like, I don't know what to do. But I'm not going to be confused anymore. I know what I want. It's this specific iteration. I know what I want. I know what I want. That's what I want. I don't want anything else. I'm so frustrated by the fact that this divine masculine energy even thinks that I do. It's very infuriating, but I don't. And I have to try to force myself to want something else in order to try to move on. And I'm just not going to do that anymore. I don't want other options. I'm not keeping my options open. I don't want them. I am I have clarity about what I want. Although I'm concerned that I'm right back in that position where I'm clinging to this thing and I can't have it. But I'm indulging myself right now. Oh my God. In this 9 of Pentacles energy, which is single and fabulous. Although, bitch, I might be single and I might be fabulous, but I'm not considering any of my options. I'm just trying to attract this divine masculine energy that I'm so attached to. And there he is again in this peacock energy, also referencing the empress here as well from this deck's imagery. But we're seeing that divine feminine is realizing that she is being self-indulgent, but she's also thinking, you know what, I deserve to get what I want and I want this reward and I don't see why I shouldn't have it. Okay, I don't see why you shouldn't have it either, divine feminine. So the next thing on her mind is this 8 of Wands she saw all over the place yesterday during the live reading with Grace Strega. It came out a billion times. It was upright, it was reversed, it was upright again. Like, this is a card of motion and messages. And divine feminine has chosen, I think, also to express, she's indulged herself and her desire to express a message to this specific divine masculine she's attached to. So maybe she was like not speaking and she's decided to indulge herself and just send some kind of message. She's also really wanting to experience these messages as well. But I think for the most part, we're seeing it as her feeling this momentum and feeling like she doesn't want to stop herself anymore. She doesn't want to stop herself from experiencing joy and happiness. But being afraid that her divine masculine stubborn rigidity, his solo energy, where he's very focused on himself and not sending her messages, is also kind of protecting them from being able to communicate and come into union. The next thing on her mind is this 8 of Pentacles upright. It is clarifying this Emperor card. So there's a couple of things here, all pretty good, honestly. The first thing is her own work is making her feel like an emperor inside. So she's feeling the power of her own divine masculine energy, which means she's taking action and she is doing things that are helping her to command and build her empire. She's aware of her potential. She's no longer trying to hide it or suppress it. She's openly expressing it or expressing to it. Um, And it's also something that she has been working on. I also think we're seeing her thinking about a divine masculine who is also working on something, creating something, and also very focused on his own career. And consequently, in that being overly focused on whatever it is that he's doing, creating, working on, and it could be healing and self work as well. It could be his issues with attachment, his issues with rigidity, controlling, etc. But she's seeing him as working on it and healing it. And there is grief here for her because she feels like he has been so self indulgent and not really considered her happiness and her emotional stability. And she's understanding that if divine masculine doesn't consider her happiness and emotional stability in this silence and he caused her grief, then she, in fact, is doing that to herself because the next thing that comes up is that silence is keeping their happiness secret because the happiness is here, right? This is the spiritual fulfillment card. It's also for Mystic Mondays. It's also a solo feminine energy that's worshiping a divine masculine energy. The sun god is the OG divine masculine god that was worshiped, right? The life giving, supportive light. I literally wrote about it in my morning pages. This was um, the energy that divine feminine has been worshiping, idolizing for a long time. I don't think the idolizing is there anymore. I think that there is now an alignment where divine feminine feels her own masculine worth energy. But her ability to really share this happiness, right? Again, this image of the feminine with the divine masculine present, but only energetically as this as the sun god, right? In the both of these images have that. So her inability to actually physically experience this happiness in this Four of Wands sacred union, coming and manifesting in the physical, taking action towards a marriage, a union with this manifestation. This is emotional stability too, and the ability to communicate, because any of the wands cards, it's like passion, communication, and fire. And these cards are clarifying the messages as well. So divine feminines also try to share some kind of emotional stability with divine masculine. She's tried to reveal without revealing her happiness. She's also thinking about those aspects of the relationship where they must remain hidden or protected, like their sacred union, which makes them very happy. It's not illuminated. The sun is not upright, so we're not seeing this light shining on it. It's still in the darkness. And it's interesting because I chose this deck, and the Four of Wands in this deck doesn't have the light, bright yellows and fiery colors of the wand. It's cool here. There's not that fire being shown in this image. And it's like I'm feeling that there's this suppression that has to happen, this protection of their feelings. And I think what she's starting to realize is that, like, what was triggering to her before being kept hidden, she's understanding has been what has been sabotaging the union, the lack of communication, etc. It's been controlling the flow of this communication. She's understanding that there are aspects to it that she can see as positive, like having a secret world with somebody, or having private jokes, or having an exclusive, you know, secret language is a beautiful part of being in union with someone. But the level of which they have to maintain this protection is such that they can't be together. And that is the part that makes divine feminine feel frustrated and feel grief. And this is what she's understanding, that she personally is healing. Her feelings of having to remain hidden that came from worthiness issues, replacing that with understanding that a secret, sacred language you have with somebody is a beautiful thing. And if it's balanced with an appropriate amount of respect and expression outwardly, it's really an amazing, lovely thing that this union will have forever, not just after they come into the light, but always. All right, divine feminine heart space, top of the deck, overall feeling is the Ace of Wands. So she really wants what she wants, remember? And she's not confused about it. And she's not suppressing it. She's just being like, no, I want to come into alignment with this person as soon as possible, or with this career, or with this manifestation as soon as possible. I'm not confused. I don't want other things. I know exactly what it is that I want. I'm trusting my heart's desire comes from inspiration from the divine, and then it's leading me where I need to go. The niggling feeling in her heart space is the Seven of Swords energy, but we're not seeing this here as like, oh, she's afraid there's third party energy or anything like that. We're seeing this card as a fear that she might be deceiving herself about this victory. So, this is what she's afraid of. And this is what is causing the self protection aspect, because this delays fulfillment, because we can't be fulfilled if we're protecting ourselves from our desire, right? And that is this marriage, right? And the revelation of her happiness. What is blocking her is her fear that she might not experience this victory, or that this victory is just won over her ego and that it's not actually going to manifest into the physical. And she's not keen on that. So there is the niggling feeling there, just the fear that this she might be deceiving herself. Like maybe it's not really going to happen and I'm just telling myself that, but she's surrendering that fear oh my god, the next card, fuck, okay, she's surrendering that fear to the divine, which is beautiful. And she's now achieving this forward motion, which is coming from the balancing of the masculine and feminine aspects of self. And she's honestly, instead of envisioning divine masculine as the one that's driving the chariot, she is envisioning divine masculine and divine feminine together being directed to pull the chariot, which is not quite so fun as riding in it, is it? Because you have to do the work. It's like the divine is gonna help you go where you want to go, but in order for you to get there, you both have to be going there together. And if one of you is meandering over here a little bit because you're a little shy of what's coming up on the road, then the whole chariot is going to go off the rails. But what's happened is divine feminine has surrendered her fear. So, in that no longer being confused or not having clarity about where she wants to go or what kind of a victory she wants to have, divine feminine has surrendered the reins to the divine masculine, but not a specific entity. The divine masculine as Godhead. So it's like the action oriented aspect of higher self. And because of that, she's not afraid that the chariot's going to go off the rails. She knows she's keeping that trust that this is being driven by a very masterful um, charioteer. So the divine masculine energy, if he starts to meander, she's like, no, no, like the divine is going to pull him right back where he needs to go. And I don't have to think about it or worry about what he's doing anymore. I can be attached to a specific iteration, but still sit back and allow the chariot to drive forward. And if that specific iteration isn't this team member, I'll figure it out, because the chariot is going to show me right where I need to go. This Nine of Pentacles, which is this wonderful energy of fulfillment and reward and abundance, it's clarified by the upright Four of Wands, which appeared twice today in Head and Heart. So, Divine Feminine, it kind of doesn't even matter what we see over on Divine Masculine side, although I already see union. You are in complete sacred union. And that's why yesterday during the reading with Grace Strega, there's all these cards that come up in union. And even if the storyline seems frustrating, like, oh, we're stagnating in this and this isn't happening, the fact that these cards are all, the energy is all coming into alignment indicates that what it is you desire is on its way to you if you can only surrender to it. Surrender to the motion. Here's another card of surrender. This is the Hanged Man card. In the Hanged Man card in the Field Tarot, it says perspective on it instead of Hanged Man. And it is an energy where you are willing to stop for a moment, take stock, and gain perspective. But there's no stopping this. There's no stopping this. So when I'm seeing this today, what I'm seeing is you are surrendering your outcome, your reward, to whatever it is that the divine feels is your reward. There is a commitment in Divine Feminine's heart space to allow the divine to direct the chariot to such an extent that she will go with this flow no matter where it leads her. And look what comes out next. The goddamn Eight of Wands. Movement. So this is not a card of stagnation. This is a card about having gained the perspective, which allows you now to move out of stagnation. And it's about surrendering to the movement itself, which is propelling her career. We've got this Eight of Pentacles and this Eight of Wands. Her passion for her own self-fulfillment is what is propelling her towards that culmination and that victory. And she's aware of it. She feels it, and it feels very good. And then look at what is clarifying the Four of Swords. I can't make it up. It's the Four of Cups. So we have the Four of Wands, which is that sacred union and the stable relationship in our, like, stable relationships, basically family, friends, celebratory energy. We've got the Four of Swords, which really is about another card of surrendering, because it's praying and just, it's healing those wounds and being patient and awaiting the healing of those wounds. And it's remaining quiet and silent, and it's trusting, which is a big thing for Divine Feminine right now. And it's clarified by Four of Cups, which is a grounding energy, but is also one about being connected to the divine, to the divine, meditating, contemplating, and in this regard, understanding that the grief she felt was purely because she was focused on how everyone else had four cups and she only had three cups, until she realized that she was her own fourth cup. And once that experience happens and you are like, oh, I'm my own cup, and it's filled up by the divine, you take that cup that is hovering there that you've been ignoring, you accept it, it's filled with your own self-love, and now you can go share it with someone. And here's the overfeeling. Oh, man's. Clarifying the Sun and the Four of Wands and the Eight of Swords. We have the Magician in reverse, which is a card I saw a lot yesterday, and the Queen of Pentacles. And this is a fertile queen. She is obviously about to bust. There is abundance here. There is the fertility that allowed her to create something quite significant. The Magician in reverse, and the fact that it's clarifying the Sun in reverse, this position in the reading, to me, is like she's kind of powerless to her own intensity, to her own, like, substance. She is also, I think, a little bit afraid that she's not using all the tools she has to be able to truly give birth to this vision. she's still protecting herself in some way, right? She's still having to really cultivate that trust in co creation with divine masculine, not just her on her own. You see, all this whole time she's been like, oh, divine masculine controls everything, and he doesn't work with me, and he doesn't allow me, he doesn't let me work alongside him. And now she's realizing, "Mm, I think I wasn't willing to work alongside of him. I think I was so concerned that I have my own independence and not be afraid that I would be under someone else's control, that I was actually unwilling to co create with this energy. I wanted to do this myself. I didn't trust anyone else to be able to do it the right way. And so the way that divine masculine is doing it is like not the right way for me. And this is what she was thinking. And so, because she was thinking that, then she was trying to control her own situation, which resulted in this, her being all by herself, protecting herself from having what she desired. And she's like, well, divine masculine wouldn't let me co create with him. That's true. But you're a reflection of each other. So, the part of yourself that takes action and is energetically um, driven and is like intellectualizes and is, in that air energy, etc., that part of yourself doesn't like working with your emotional side. It doesn't like vulnerability. When the vulnerability comes up, it's like you're being a little bitch, right? Stop being a little bitch and fuck up. That's how you are to yourself. And then, like, I mean, even if you do now, you're kind of a little bit more ascended and you allow yourself space to feel the feelings, you're like, okay, this is fine. There's still a part of you that judges yourself for it and is like, what is this? What is this? Is this gonna help you? Is this helping you? Are you good? Are you good? Are you gonna cry more? You can cry more, you little baby, right? Or covering up vulnerability with humor and being like, no, I don't really like how that feels. So I'm going to make a really funny joke about it. Everybody's going to laugh about it. We're going to forget that's a real feeling I have or a fear that I have that you're now aware of. And that's why comedians don't last very long, because comedians cover up their vulnerability constantly. They're selectively open. They seem very vulnerable because they are self denigrating and they tell all these stories that other people aren't comfortable telling. But it's through that selective storytelling that they really hide their true vulnerability. And I speak to that because that is what I do. I'm very good at it. I learned it from my dad, who is a Pisces bartender and hilarious. My mom's a Virgo, super funny people. And my secret identity is a Cancer, extremely witty, hilarious people who don't like feeling vulnerable very much. So, divine feminine, you must admit to yourself that this whole time that you're like, he won't speak to me and he's not being vulnerable and he's not integrating me. Go within, do the work. Babes, do it. Okay, divine masculine, let's get to you. What is going on in here? I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to channel it. Oh, I keep drinking that. It's like somebody, you know what it's like? It's like when you get the exact, like the full amount of pumps in a Starbucks drink that is a double flavored drink. So if it's like caramel mocha, when you get a caramel mocha frappuccino at Starbucks, a caramel frappuccino has like six, like let's say you get a venti, it has 6 pumps, which is 6 teaspoons of the caramel syrup. If you get a caramel mocha, it's got 12 teaspoons of sugar in it. That's what this coffee's like today. I don't know even how it happened. I think I must have like tipped the maple syrup a little bit more than I realized. Holy moly. All right, top of the deck. Overall headspace for divine masculine today is already in union with divine feminine. Which was from the place where there was union. So yeah, there's union. Somewhere there's union. All right, 9 of Pentacles. It's mirrored though. How are we going to do it? How are we doing it like this? It's mirrored because divine masculine is actually working really hard to release his attachment to outcomes, and he's also really so freaking worried about divine feminine being single and fabulous. Maybe he'll feel better after he sees this reading where she was like, I just don't even have any other options. Maybe he'll feel better. But we started out, he didn't know that. So the thing that overall in his mind is like, I am afraid of this solo energy of the divine feminine because she is fabulous and someone else is going to figure this out. He's also resisting indulging himself, which might be a good thing if he has issues with self-indulgence. So he's like maybe trying not to be self-indulgent. Maybe part of his self-indulgence has been um the Knight of Wands behavior with divine feminine, like coming in. We saw Knight of Wands a lot yesterday. We saw reflection on it in the headspace and the heart space for both divine masculine and divine feminine energy. There was a feeling for him that he was being, kind of an immature, not very clever young man, and he wanted to be more of a mature king energy. And so it could be that. It could also be like, I'm not going to indulge myself. It's like I want to tell this divine feminine all the things, but I'm not gonna indulge myself because I know what that does. Like I don't want to engage in that pattern with her anymore either. So there's a few different layers there. But ultimately I think to see the Nine of Pentacles is a good thing because the niggling thing in the back of his mind is this Ace of Pentacles. So he is underlying all of his thoughts and decisions is some kind of an offer, and it's solid and substantive and it's of the material. It is not a spiritual offer alone. um, and I think there might also just be concern there where he's like, divine feminine has everything she needs. Look at divine feminine has a dishwasher. It's all filled up and I'm bringing her one more plate. She doesn't even need it. Is she gonna want it? She's so fabulous. But even though I don't know if she's gonna want to put one more plate in this dishwasher of hers, listen, I'm ready to put things in the dishwasher, okay? The Fool. Even though he's afraid, not really sure, the offer he has is so solid and feels so ready that he's just gonna take the leap and throw caution to the wind. And he feels this loyalty for divine feminine or from divine feminine that is just making him think like it really seems like no matter how fucking self-indulgent I am, no matter how many plates she has, it really seems, and maybe she's foolish because she chooses me, but like she does every time, and like I can't deny that anymore. And so I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And there's the Hanged Man. We have mirroring again. Why? Well, I'll just remind you if you forgot. Because of sacred union. That you're like, no, there's no sacred union. I don't see anything. I don't see it. Well, it's here. Do you see it? I do. But I'm psychic, so. The Hanged Man. It's in reverse because he's gained perspective. And when he did, he found out that this is this is what was happening, right? Look at divine feminine. She's hanging him out to dry with her knickers, and she looks kind of happy about it. She's like, you know what though? I'm just gonna go hang you out here on this line and go inside and have a nice iced tea with fresh lemon in it and kick back and relax after all this work that I have done. So divine masculine went, he surrendered, he got perspective and he saw exactly what the divine feminine had to go through to deal with him. The fool's energy is the energy of just taking the leap. The hanged man in reverse is the energy of no longer being paused. And the next card is death in reverse. The glorious and disgusting image from the Housewives Tarot of death. And death, of course, is rebirth. You know, I remember learning as a child that at a certain point in history, people thought when food started to grow mold that it was actually like regenerating and they would eat it. But it is regenerating. It's just giving life to something that now has become a bit toxic, right? And has to be released. We can't consume it anymore. There were things that Divine Masculine tried to resurrect, I think, recently. I think in a bout of panic um, about this experience that he was having. I think he tried to go and resurrect some old stuff, and it just didn't taste very good. It did not leave a good taste in his mouth. And it made him recognize that he was really just kind of running from what he truly desired. He doesn't want to do that anymore. But there is a sense here when we see the death card in reverse, a feeling of it's not over, or there was a resistance to releasing an end. Now we understand that divine feminine is complete in a complete agreement, right? Does this look over to you? No, I chose this deck. Remember, I could have chosen any number of decks because now I have too many, if that's possible, but it's not really possible, decks. You can send me more. Click the description box below. There's a number of decks I'm calling in. Send them to me, please. Because of this. Because the more decks I have, the more randomness there is, the more ability there is for the divine to show messages that help me to really hone in on the story. And the story is it's not over. And if you saw my Instagram yesterday, I pulled a couple of cards. I just felt compelled to. I just love my new deck so much. I'm like, I want to play with them. So I pulled some cards yesterday, and I did get from the Sluttist Tarot. I got the Death card in reverse and the Eight of Cups in reverse, and the message very loud and clear was, it's not over, and I'm not going to walk away. So it isn't over. They're not walking away. Instead, they're actually hitching up to the chariot, checking back over their shoulder, being like, all right, the divine's got it. Let's go forward. Divine feminine had that grace of surrender, and divine masculine does too, because here's the Three of Wands. He's also feeling so much gratitude for divine feminine's patience, because this is a card of patience. It's about seeing the pieces falling into place, and he can see those pieces falling into place. And there's a little part of him that feels like divine feminine must be really foolish to have waited for him this long, because he doesn't feel like he's really presenting in all that much splendor and glory today. But he's thankful. There's gratitude here for this patience on her part. He's also feeling grateful about the lesson he learned about the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands, the Two of Wands is you ask for it and it's going to be given, but you can't see how, you can't see when, you can't see where. You're just like, it's an uncomfortable card because it's about the journey and it's about understanding that you ask for it and you're waiting, but the real pleasure is the journey. So the Three of Wands is a place where you suddenly start to understand that. And because you're like, oh, it's not about me getting the thing I asked for. It's about the process of me getting the thing I asked for. If you don't believe me, go buy a video game, hire someone else to play it, and then have them show you the end credits. Was it worth $49 to see the end credits that someone else played? Is that what we do when we buy a video game? Is that when you get a book from the library or a bookstore that you want to read? Do you flip to the last chapter and just read the last chapter and be like, oh, that was great, and put it back on your shelf? Maybe you never open it. Is it about owning the book? Is it about reading the last chapter of the book? What is it about? Were you like, I really want the book Little Women? And then you got it and you're like, okay, I have it. No. It's about, first of all, how did you purchase the book? That was a whole thing. There was something that happened there. Maybe you got birthday money. Maybe, oh, I could go buy a book for myself. That's fun. Maybe you did a cool job and you got a reward and you can reward yourself. Maybe you make a fucking shit ton of money. And it's really fun to buy anything. So there's that. Okay, there's that part of the journey. Now you got the book. Now you can open it up. There's pictures inside, maybe. There's little drawings in there, maybe. There's this classic story reminds you from every childhood. There's words, there's characters, and then you can be part of the world and travel in it and do all those things. I don't think it was about getting the book or reading the last chapter. So that's what the Three of Wands is about. It's like, oh, it was about me realizing, first of all, how amazing this divine feminine is. And then being like, wait a minute, if she's amazing, I'm that amazing. And I got that amazing because of all these things I did. And then feeling very grateful, very appreciative of yourself and of the divine feminine and of the divine, and filling up the cup and seeing those ships coming in and being like, yeah, man. And the next card we have is the King of Swords. Divine Masculine is thinking of himself as a King of Swords. This is a great king. He's chivalrous and he's very much in his integrity. He's very honest, tells the truth. But he's very stoic, right? He doesn't express just like the King of Cups, maybe even worse, because the King of Cups will be silent, but he might give you friendly gestures. He might give you vagaries. He's not going to tell you what's going on, but he's going to reassure you. He's going to be like, oh, it's okay. I've got it all under control. Don't worry about it, right? The King of Swords is like not even going to speak. Like he's going to set his jaw and you're going to like see the muscle in it moving. And you're going to be like, fuck, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, it seems like he knows what he's doing, but at the same time, like, I have no goddamn clue. And he's also maybe hates me and might chop my head off if I make the wrong move, right? Because there's that Queen of Swords energy. There's also thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking that goes on with this card. So Divine Masculine's perspective, where he was hung out to dry, he was hung out to dry for the shadow traits of this king. Not being honest, being way too icy, being way too aloof, being way too cool, right? Cucumber cool here. Great for him, not so great for divine feminine. So she's like, bitch, no. If you're going to be this kind of a nice queen to me, I'm going to hang your ass out on the line. So divine masculine is aware from the perspective he's gained that in order for him to be able to come in from outside, he has to release any of those like tendencies that he has to be too protective, too cool, too worried about how he appears, and thinking too much. The last thing on his mind, clarifying what isn't over, is the world upright. So he is like, excuse me, for sure. I am going to complete this cycle and have what it is that I want, because this is the completion here. The house, the car, the finances all in order, the family. I will not allow my world to end, to die. That will not happen. I'm going to experience a rebirth of what it is that I desire. By hook or by crook. All right. I have to finish this entire reading in the next 15 minutes. Not going to happen. All right, cool. Top of the deck, overall heart space for divine masculine. Wow, we just talked about it at length. It's the Three of Wands. It's his overall feeling of his heart space. I'm patient. I understand the journey. I'm drawing my inspiration from the divine. And I feel I can see my ships coming in, my pieces falling into place. And I feel really, really excited about it. If there's any fear that I'm having, it is this. It's the goddamn Four of Wands. There's 3 iterations of this card in this spread today, and the Four of Wands is about marriage and sacred union and commitment. Divine feminines are ready to go. Divine masculine is not. Not gonna lie. The Four of Wands is in reverse because divine masculine is not quite yet trusting in the stability of the union. But that makes sense because when we started off, he wasn't really sure about divine feminine solo and fabulous energy. And now he sees that her solo and fabulous energy is about him, and maybe he will feel better and not feel this worries or concerns about the stability of the foundation of the relationship. But for sure, there was fear there in the heart space this morning. It was the niggling thing, the niggling fear. Am I ready for this? Is she ready for this? Are we ready for this? Can I do this? Will this go like it did before? I really don't want it to. I would like a better situation. So there's those things kind of going through his head. And then, oh shit. The first thought in his mind was the Fool. The last thought in his mind was the World. And the first feeling in his heart space is the World. And it's in reverse because he feels like he was a fool in not completing the cycle the last time. There was a missed opportunity of some kind here, and he feels foolish for having missed this. He also doesn't want to be foolish and miss it again. And I think also he is seeing divine feminine. Look at all her accoutrements here, right? She looks like a lot. She looks like a little bit of high maintenance, and a little scattered and a little like, okay, let's go, and just maybe a little bit like naive. So divine masculine is just a little worried, like he loves her. This is his whole world, but he's like, am I ready for this? Because this looks like a little bit of chaos. This looks like a little bit of chaos that I'm about to head right into, but you can't argue with true love. And the Page of Cups is here to make sure that you know it. He also needs to make an apology to Divine Feminine for having fumbled this and not completed the cycle before. And there's usually apologies contained. But again, this is very naive. We've got the Fool, and then we've got the Page of Cups. So we've got very heart centered feelings of true love coming from this Page of Cups energy, but it is very naive, and it is in regards to the perspective that's been gained. It's like he learned that the both of them are incredibly naive. It's honestly sweet. It's innocent. Here's the Six of Cups, and this is clarifying the Death card in reverse. So what is not over? The love, this blissful true love that has been between them, right? This cycle hasn't completed. They have not yet been able to come into this reunion and rebirth this connection. This past energy that divine masculine had to release also, it gave him a hard time. It did. As I said, when I felt this card, I think he tried to regenerate past energy, not with the divine feminine, but with other energy, and it just didn't work out. But now he's understanding that it didn't work out because it wasn't what he desired. It wasn't the meshing of the two worlds he desired, which is this sacred union with divine feminine energy. So the literally the heart is naive, innocent, and then we're getting the King of Cups. And we got the King of Swords today and the King of Cups, and those are the two most silent kings. And this card is clarifying this Three of Wands. So basically, Divine Masculine is feeling he's been in the shadow of the King of Cups, because which is an inability to speak, because he has had to wait for these ships to come in order to be able to reveal to the Divine Feminine. He's also feeling so much compassion and love and adoration and sensitivity for Divine Feminine's patience, because he's really feeling empathetic about how difficult it is to have had to wait for him to be in his integrity and finally make his choice. This Two of Pentacles, to make a choice to balance the scales, to no longer juggle third party energy. And that does not necessarily mean a sexual partner, but it could mean any kind of third party energy, just anything that was taking priority over Divine Feminine. He is feeling compassion and empathy for her, having to wait for him to make that choice, which he had to do in order to protect his kingdom and his empire. And then we are seeing Judgment, the Judgment card in reverse. And in this card, we're seeing the devil and the angel. And these are the two aspects that are giving testimony about the fate of the soul that's being decided here. And we're seeing a desire for absolution and a desire for forgiveness and things to come to light, and liberation, freedom to be able to experience all of the joys that are contained for him in this world, that is the last thing on his mind, this thing that he really wants to bring to its fruition. So he's trying to forgive himself, not be so hard on himself, and hoping that Divine Feminine will not be so hard on him either, that she will be in her nostalgia and bliss for this union, and understand that everything he did was innocent, that he did not do this with any malicious intent. All right, let us look at the oracles. Ooh. Divine Feminine, you are in the light attributes of the Exorcist. This is always a card that scares me, because I had terror of this potential for demonic possession since I was a child. You are freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. And you are, right? You are, because your awareness about this Eight of Swords energy and how it blocks you from your fulfillment is your freeing yourself, because as soon as you recognize the bonds that you have, you can set yourself free. We're also getting, I wanted to get this card first. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, so your Magician card was in reverse, but I'm using the Sluttist Tarot during the Oracles part, just to get a sense of the sexual energy, which is creative energy too, not just like physical, but creative energy. Divine Feminine, you're getting the Witch Honey, which is the Magician, okay? And so this concern you had that you weren't utilizing all of your tools or whatever, this is, you are actually ready to co-create. So this concern that you could not co-create, or that you weren't co-creating with the Divine Masculine energy, that you're instead kind of having to take on this solo energy, not using all the tools that you have, that's not really, that's a fear, not a reality. The reality of this is you actually do have the power and energy to manifest and co-create and get busy, if you know what I'm saying. Okay. Then your guardian is Saint Joan of Arc. So right now there is a leadership energy within you to lead this union, and you're the one with the Chariot right out the gate, and you're the one with the Emperor. We did not see this in Divine Masculine side today. We saw your masculine worth energy is in balance within you, which means now you are the leader and you must take the lead. And I know you're frustrated with me because you're like, No, this divine masculine must take the lead. He needs to, because otherwise, how will I know if I'm worthy? How will I? This is how you know that you're worthy, because this card showed up and you are strong enough, powerful enough. You got the fucking magician, you got the exorcist, you got the Queen of Pentacles, you got the Eight of Wands. This is your side. So if you're not taking the lead right now, it's not because you're not capable. It's because of pride or ego. I took the lead today. I'm like, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do this. And I did that. You got to do that. Take the lead. Relinquish this idea that you need the other person to do it so that you feel like they wanted to. That's a fear that they don't. Beauty. You have this tendency to see beauty outside of yourself. You see it in others. When you look upon them and you see their reflection, you see beauty, but you're not seeing this in yourself as much. And you need to. When you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing your divine masculine energy and you're seeing how beautiful this energy is, that is you. That is your energy. Step out of your comfort zone and take the lead. Joan of Arc is here to support you. Do you think there's a better saint than Joan of Arc to help the feminine take the lead? Where are you being called to journey to? You're getting 3 cards. The inner temple. All right. Okay. I can see this now. And your council of light. Okay. So 3 messages here. All one message. You're being called to tune into your heart space and take counsel from your council of light right now. This is what you're being called to do. You need to tune in to the portal of your heart, which is what you're doing here with me today. And when you're looking at your heart and you're seeing the needs in your heart, it's surrender to the motion. It's grounding into that Queen of Pentacles energy. Stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Because here's your comfort zone. Do you want to stay there? Do you want to stay in there? You want to stay there? Or do you want to step out? Do you want to be the Queen of Pentacles? Or do you want to be that bitch in the Eight of Swords? Who's that bitch? I don't even know her. She's on the fucking court. Do you want that? Is that what you want? No. Okay. So where are you going to find the answer to not doing that? It's not going to be in your divine masculine. You're not going to find the answer by listening to a bunch of readings about what divine masculine is doing today. Unless you think yourself is the divine masculine, you're trying to get to the bottom of why you're not doing things. If you're that enlightened, and you might be because you're here and you listen to me, so you might really have that awareness. If you're listening to readings and they're talking about divine masculine, divine masculine, divine masculine, and you think about you, you're getting information for yourself. But if you're thinking about someone else, you're not going to get your answers. You need to tune into your own heart and trust your own council of light to guide you. They are going to tell you where you are being called to journey to. You got 2 of these today, and I allowed it. I don't usually allow it because I tend to read these cards since this is one of my newer decks, and I love Colette Baron-Reid's descriptions of them. But I'm starting to get to know this deck well enough that I'm like, okay, fine, we'll get 2 cards, we'll get 2 cards. So we're getting the animal spirits for you. We're getting crow spirit, which is co-create with spirit. Like, I can't make it up, man. And it's the protection message, and we'll take a look at it, but I'm pretty sure I know what we're going to hear because it is literally what I talked about at length when we saw the magician in reverse. And we're also getting peacock spirit, let it shine. And I think you are doing that. And so I think this, I'm not even going to read this card, which kind of is a star energy sort of card, like let yourself shine. But you can see from these two images that the thing that we're being confirmed in right now is you can let your love shine for this specific iteration of the divine masculine. I am giving you the go ahead to let your love shine for this particular individual at this moment, because without letting them know your love, you can't co create with them. I'm going to read the protection message of this card just to see if there's any more information there, but that's my overwhelming feeling of these two cards in this placement. Crow Spirit wants to know why you think there is no magic in the world, or do you believe that there once was, but it ran out, leaving nothing but ordinariness? Although conditions have become challenging, you have no reason to believe that everything you've set an intention for will elude you. Right now, the outer world is shifting. Can you feel it? Maybe you are fretting about experiencing the results of some of your poor choices or judgments from the past. Crow Spirit is here to remind you that you can always course correct and get back on track. Maybe you've been hit by a loss or disappointment as a result of an event that had absolutely nothing to do with your manifesting, yet it has shaken you to your core. Crow Spirit asks you to trust that no matter the temporary conditions, things will right themselves very soon. The law of balance makes it inevitable that this too shall pass. So that's the law of polarity, right? The law of balance. So you are going to experience what it is that what you are desiring, but you must. It is okay for you right now to let your love shine for the specific iteration. The energy is good, and you are going to be able to co-create them. Oh my god! Divine masculine. The sexual energy for divine masculine is the Three of Wands. So we got three of wands, which literally means unity. And the energy here is this patience and these pieces falling into place. And it's like a sweetness too, because it's a trust. It's like a release of a fear of intimacy. If it's an acceptance and embracing of the journey and feeling like that, the the getting to, so like the foreplay, the foreplay is really feeling like very satisfying to divine masculine right now, and encouraging him to take that next step into the sacred physical union. Okay. Four of wands. Come on. We want to see it. Let's see it. All right. You are divine masculine in the light attributes of the Samaritan. Ugh, my hair is stuck under my arm. Refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore, but it's really more about releasing the shadow attribute, which is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help that you offer. So for a while, you were really concerned that divine feminine give you all the credit for all the work that you've done, like a good little boy. And then you're like, oh, it's really not her job to give me credit or recognition for stuff that I should just fucking do for myself. I don't need to be patted on the head for every single step I make towards her. I just need to make these steps towards her and give her a reason to recognize and appreciate me, right? So you're in the light attributes, that no longer expecting her to just be like, oh, you're being so good, you can do it. Like, but just experiencing that from her, but not needing it, not exacting it, not being like, okay, I do this because I want to see this, but just I do this out of love. And then lo and behold, I receive appreciation and recognition, but that is not my goal. St. Padre Pio is here to help you with healing. And there's this cup, right, that we saw yesterday was depleted in the reading with Grace Strega. Well, it wasn't depleted. Divine Feminine's was depleted from filling yours up, but your cup was still empty in that reading. So there is this deep healing that's taking place. And it's even like at a subconscious level. So it's not even that exacting for you right now, although you may feel somewhat drained from it, but it's like you're l- the light workers around you are holding the space for that healing. There's also a Star of David there too. So I feel like there's a calling to go deeply into your spiritual roots, because this is a New Testament practitioner who is recalling the Old Testament through the Star of David and the divinity, the line of Christ from. So to me, that's also a calling to really get in touch with whatever sort of religious background that you might have come from, because you descend from a sort of magic that flows through the mysticism of that faith. And so there's also just kind of a message there for you that there is a lot of healing that will take place when you connect with your ancient spiritual roots. Your guardian angel is here to support you in being brave. It takes bravery to apologize and ask for reconciliation. Um, and you are being supported in this energy so that you can be brave. We're getting this boundaries card, and we're seeing a divine feminine here. And so I think that it's just this message for you that is just, you have to continue to respect boundaries. You have to approach bravely with your cup, but you have to do it in such a way that you still respect the boundaries that divine feminine has placed. She has had issues with secrecy and being hidden, so you have to try to come to her in a way that's going to honor that boundary of not being kept secret or hidden. It doesn't mean that you can't have a private life with her. It just means that there have to be some basic parameters that are met. And for sure, that the family and friends in your immediate vicinity need to know about this relationship, even if the world at large does not. And there has to be some kind of a compromise here in regards to both boundaries. Divine feminine respecting your boundaries that you need to uphold because of your own situation, and vice versa. It's time to release the negativity. This is also Scorpio energy, and we have now come into the void of course phase with the moon, and we've released the Scorpio energy somewhat fully. If there's any negativity, any fear left within you, it is the time to fully release this and try instead to cultivate appreciation. Think about why you want to do something, which helps you be very much in the light, be in the positive energy of it. And then we're getting warrior woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? So this is Queen of Swords energy. It's also the there's page energy there too, actually, with picking up the sword and being brave. And this is just, again, I think with that bravery thing, just being brave enough to answer your deepest calling, which, if we look at this next message from the light work your light deck, Mintaken, longing for home, belonging to the original light workers, your deepest calling is to go home. And home is to come into union with divine feminine. So you need to um, honor that calling that you have, to be able to come home to one another so that you can return home after you've completed this mission. You're also getting wasp spirits, the protection message. Sometimes life stings. Are you holding on to anger, jealousy, or resentment because you got stung? Or could you have just stung yourself by comparing yourself to others? There will always be someone else who is more successful, happier, thinner, richer, etc. Jealousy is the false belief that you can't have what you want, or someone could take away something that was supposed to be yours. Let it go and release all those feelings that are making the sting hurt long after the stinger has been removed. Wasp spirit has woken you up, and now you are called to trust that disappointment can lead you to a different and better path. Align with spirit now and trust that this too shall pass and is already doing so. For the pain subsides when you stop telling the story of how much it hurt. Okay. Let us close out this reading with the final energy for the union. All right. The sexual energy for this union currently is the Star card in reverse. God, I love this deck. So this is a very strong message here of having fears about truly revealing your wishes, your wish fulfillment in regards to your creative energy. So, if we're looking at this in terms of physical union, then we're thinking of things like maybe there's desires that are sort of hidden that you like or you want to engage in, and you're not quite sure how divine feminine or divine masculine will feel about those things. So, there's a little curiosity here about what you can truly reveal about yourself in terms of the desires you have, taking what's unconscious and manifesting it. I also see a fear here in general of this, that you have been taught to keep your sexual desires hidden in general. And there is reasons for that that have been to protect yourself, etc. So there are going to be your wishes are going to be fulfilled in terms of physical union, but you definitely want to be aware that you're both carrying some self consciousness about certain desires you have in terms of your creation. So you might not be certain that everyone will be as turned on or into your creative energy as you are. You are both in the light attributes of the prince, which is romantic charm and potential for power. And you've released any using power for self aggrandizement. So this is a good time. You're both being very charming, and you both a desire to charm one another and to, engage in the early stages of romance and dating. Your guardian angel is here to tell you to come out of retreat. If you have retreated from one another, it is time now to come out of retreat and to return in that Six of Cups energy, full speed ahead with the Chariot to the Four of Wands. You may need, or you are receiving from this reading, the clarity that you do need to be able to achieve your desires. I'm struck by this. It reminds me of a Christmas bulb, like hanging on a tree. And it's like finally getting clarity about what it is that you want, and embracing that there will be surprises and that will be part of the experience and enjoying it. But ultimately, that gift that you're after, you're going to get to experience it as you start to really um, achieve this clarity within you about what you want. A win-win outcome is forecast. So you can just trust in this. And then I have to say, everything I said about the boundaries card is still very true. There are boundaries here that need to be maintained, that need to be established. With the retreat card and the boundaries in reverse, here's what I'm thinking. You established some boundaries to be able to try to shift your energy in regards to one another. Now you must come out of that retreat and compromise and co create so that your boundaries remain healthy, but they take into account a whole picture and they're not built around fear, right? This is not a healthy boundary. I guess it can be sometimes. I shouldn't say that as a blanket statement. There are times when we are protecting ourselves from, you know, um, something that could really, 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 really take us out. And in that way, then it is a healthy boundary. But for the most part, when we're talking about two people coming together, this doesn't look like a very healthy, friendly boundary, right? Because she's blind. She can't see the other person, and her hands are tied. She can't like make any movements towards them. It would probably be better if the blindfold was off, like she had clarity about how she wanted to establish the boundary around herself. And if she liberated herself from her own bonds and instead declared the boundary and made it very clear to the other person, and then had communication about it back. So you need to establish boundaries together, but you need to do this together. It can't just be like, this is my boundary. It's like, girl, okay, if that's your boundary, fine. But then there you are by yourself in your boundary. So, what is your boundary about? My boundary is about not engaging in behavior that makes it seem like I'm somebody's mistress when I'm not, right? Neither one of us is with anyone else. And there's no reason for me to be treated like I am, need to be hidden. So my boundary is like, listen, you follow me, I follow you. We engage in things that they can be in our secret language, but there need to be some aspects of acceptance of who I am openly, publicly, because that is my worthiness. That's my worthiness. And I will engage with you only openly, right? Only openly in a safe way to try to protect the hidden language we have, but I will only do this openly. And I won't respond if I don't receive the same kind of consideration. So if I'm not openly followed, if I can't communicate with you in your phone messages, if you can't come clean to me, then we aren't clear. So it's not a wall that's it's not like a brick wall that's like, okay, you can't come clean to me, so I don't love you or I'm not going to express love to you. It's like, no, I'm going to engage with you openly as much as I can within my limits, within your boundaries that seem to have been established. Although since I don't know your boundaries because you haven't told me your boundaries, it is very difficult for me to see them. And so I'm blindly trying to maintain boundaries with you, hoping I'm getting it right, but not knowing because no one has told me what I need to do. Right? I'm trying to be clear going forward. This is what I need. It's basic, don't you think? How would you feel if you felt the way that I felt? Maybe you don't feel like you're a mistress, but you are. So, boundaries, work on them together, not alone, not by yourself. All right, horse spirit, freedom is yours. And it's the 33 card. And I don't get this card very much. When horse spirit appears, you are gifted with the spirit of movement and freedom. It is a time for travel and adventure, whether that means a trip somewhere or taking a different type of journey, one of freedom of choice. Horse spirit reminds you that no matter the circumstances, you have free will and choices that can take you far away to a better place, a better situation, a better state of being. For there is no one but you to rein in your will to make a different decision. You are capable of making powerful choices that will affect you for a long time to come. Horses are social animals and known to be a friend to mankind, willing to carry us forward when we need it. Horse spirit reminds you that help will be available to you whenever you need it, and companions will be by your side wherever you choose to go, whatever direction you choose to travel. Life is an adventure, and horse spirit wants you to know that whatever choices you make, you have great spirit within, invisible, yet holding you up and always walking by your side. If your inquiry is about a relationship, you can set your heart free to experience love in all forms. Spirit whispers to you that the gift of freedom is yours if you allow yourself to break out of your perfectionism and stubbornness. Make a move and enjoy the freedom of letting go of the need of control. Oh my God. All right, let's find out what we need to do today to complete the cycle and come into union by the end of the night. That is my requirement for the Holy Spirit. Bring us into union before I go to bed tonight, please. Oh my God. Okay. But really, though, what is the holdup? Dear Lord. All right. Thank you so much for being here today. Please like, subscribe, share. Oh my God, that card came out again anyway. Please like, subscribe, share. Click on notifications. Holy shit. Click on notifications if you want to see when I'm going live and when I post other videos. You can also follow me on Instagram, where I did discuss at the beginning of the reading that I do post a time lapse shuffle, or sometimes I read live. And if I'm reading live, or not reading live, shuffling live, if I'm shuffling live, you can join me. And if you stick around, I'll pull a card for you at the end. But I do that kind of spontaneously when I feel called. But most often, you're going to be able to see what songs came up during the shuffle and get messages from them over on Instagram. So please follow me over there. I also do live collaborations over there that are a lot of fun. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is my day off. So I do not read live. I do not read any cards at all on Tuesdays. So if you really need me, you can go way, way, way back to the beginning of time from a year ago. And I have tons and tons and tons and tons of readings that you can take a look at. Those are timeless. And you can see the different versions of me growing into myself. Isn't that fun? So you can do that. And the other thing you can do is, if you would like to support me so I can continue to do this lovely readings for you every single day, the description box below has a Patreon link, and subscribers at the $9 level receive their bi-weekly check-in today, which came out this morning. There was also a monthly check-in for $3 subscribers that came out on the 1st, which has the whole month in it. So there's 2 readings that are relevant to this current time and energy if you want to look at that. But all of my readings are timeless, so you don't have to pay for them. You can go get them for free anywhere. But those are your options for tomorrow if you're going to be too sad, because I'm not going to be here live. I will be here again Wednesday morning, bright and early, doing my usual thing with you on that day. So alas, I hope you do survive without me. But thank you so much for being here. Take care. I hope you have the best day today. And oh wait, I didn't actually finish these cards. I think it's because I don't want to, because it says Coffee Cup, Not Today by Divine Masculine. And I was like, God damn it. So Divine Masculine energy, we've got meeting and conversing, savoring the moment, feeling uplifted, and friendship, which would be so great. But then we got Not Today, not dealing, hurt, avoiding a conversation, calling a person, boundaries, and still angry. This is for today. I mean, you could face the conversation you're avoiding, the person you're avoiding. You could face. This could also be about someone else kind of coming at you and being like, not respecting your boundaries. And you're like, no, not today. I'm going to go have this date. I'm going to go have this conversation. I'm going to stop avoiding this conversation. And I'm not going to let this third party energy block me from doing what it is that I want. So that's a potential reading. I guess my ego didn't have to read that as my Divine Masculine yet again avoiding me. Divine Feminine, you're getting outdated thinking. Conditioning, replaying events over and over in your head. With this cassette tape, I'm also seeing messages about music here. And then you're getting talking, interested, conversing more. A weighted message arrives. Text, call, email, and hoovering, which hoovering, you know, is where they just keep sucking you back in. All right, well, look at this. If we're in the light today and we decide to do the things that Spirit tells us to do, which no shade if you don't, because, you know, I won't have a job if you do what you're supposed to do. If you do what you're supposed to do today, and you set boundaries with the other individuals in your life that keep blocking you from this conversation that you want to have, so that you can feel uplifted and enjoy this friendship and start to have a conversation with Divine Feminine. Divine Feminine, you can stop replaying what happens every time, how you get these cards and you see this and Divine Masculine doesn't do anything. And you're like, oh, he's just not going to do anything because that's what he always does. Over and over in your head. Then maybe these 2 cards right here, this one, which is the shadow for you, and this one, which is the shadow for him, good morning, Lena, will disappear. And instead, you can have this conversation that you need to have so you can establish better boundaries with each other. And the bottom of the deck is Twin Flames. And it is balance, union, coupling, and complementing each other. And then we're getting a clock. It's time to come into union. And you could do that today if you face the shadow Whoever is violating your boundaries and preventing you from doing this, or I was going to say presenting this obstacle before you, not today with that fucking energy. Bye. And your own self, your own head that is presenting your obstacle, that is your version of not today, because it is your mind that is thinking about how this version of not today exists on the other side. Bye. Come into union. All right, now I'm going to leave. Thank you so much for being here today. Take care. Have the best day, as I said before.